Hey everybody, this is Stefan Mischook with KillerSites.com. This is me right here. In this video, I want to talk about web design styles, specifically your web design style. So let me get to the point of this video, just in case you guys are impatient. Essentially, what you're going to find is that every web designer, just about every web designer, has a particular style, particular look that they produce consistently. You'll see telltale signs of this in all their work, and that includes you if you're a web designer. Now, the big question is, as you develop in your web design career and you find that maybe your style is getting a little stale, or maybe you just want to change it up, what are your solutions? How do you get out from being locked into your own style? That's I'll elaborate on later on in this video. But again, back to the basic question, what do you do? The two solutions either are to use a web template, find another style that's different from your own, and in a template, and then leverage that, or leverage the style in that template and start using it in your work. Or the other option is to hire another web designer to just develop the basic skin for your website. So let's get back to the meat of the video. What I'm arguing and what I've seen over the years, last 15 years of being in this game, that a web designer, actually any artist really, develops at some point in time in their career a particular style that is consistent throughout their work. And you can see this across the board. It's very, very rare that you see a web designer who can design in very different ways. You'll see someone who, for instance, can they'll design a restaurant website, and then a website for a dog kennel, and then some other type of website, and you'll see telltale signs of their artwork, of their design aesthetic throughout. And that's just a fact of life. It's very rare that you see somebody who can create a totally different look. And this is not just something in web design. This is something that you see in just about any art form. You see with painters. If you look at Picasso, for instance. I'm going to go Picasso. And let's look at some of his images. Now you look at all these Picasso images, you notice how they're very, very similar, right? This is his style, right? You can pretty much identify a Picasso painting right away. And so if the greats like Picasso seems to be, if greats like Picasso get locked into a style, then it's no shame that you as a humble web designer should find yourself in the same boat. Let me look back at some earlier work. So here is something I did I guess I established this particular look in the early 2000s, like 2001, 2000, something like that. And I carried it through up until a few years ago. This particular site was last updated in 2007. So it's this is the last of the evolution of this style, Steph style. You'll notice that this style has earmarks of the period in which it was built. You notice that the width is actually quite narrow compared to more modern websites. If you look, the width is about 780 pixels, 85 pixels roughly. And this is because when this site was designed, it was designed in a period when most people had 800 by 600 resolution monitors. So you needed to design it narrow enough. So we moved forward to a more modern looking site, like this is our current, in 2011, Killer Sites site. And you notice that the width is much, much wider. Why? Because people have much better video cards. So we have a lot more screen real estate to work with. Now, for this particular design here, I just acted as art director. At this point in time in my career, I'm just busy running things. So though I didn't write any code here myself and I didn't do any design, but I'm the art director. So what does that mean? It means I specify the color schemes, I specify the type of layout I want, fonts use, etc. So I have, a big hand in it, but really this site is an expression of another web designer style. And the reason I went with this particular web designer, one of my assistants, is because I liked their style. So let's look at another one of our killer sites websites. This is killerjavascript.com. This was, again, I art directed this, and this was another guy, and of course you can see he has a more minimal style, more of a corporate style. And whether or not you prefer this style or this style, it comes down to taste, and it actually comes down to the type of website you're building. Because of the nature of killer sites and our network of sites, I wanted to move from a more corporate look like this to a more of a fun look that we have here. If you look at csstutorial.net, this style is, again, by the same designer who did this, and you can see some of the similarities, I think, at least I do. And with this style in particular, we have a tutorial structure here, so I want to really simplify the layout so that people can concentrate on the material, on the written lessons and so on. So though it's same designer as this guy, and though it's a bit different and the structure is a bit different, you can see the telltale signs of this guy's work rather than, or as opposed to this guy. It's pretty clear that this is a different person here, and which is obviously a very different person here. Now, this also shows a date. This shows you a different time period in web design. And in fact, if you go back earlier on, you'll see that web design and the look of websites are greatly affected by the technology that's available at the time. So as I mentioned earlier when I first started this video, I have found that 99% of web designers seem to have a particular style, and they seem to basically conform to that style. And the reason being, I find, is, well, my theory is I think it kind of gets hard-coded in your brain, and it's very hard to switch out of it. And as I said, it's the same thing in all art styles. It's even the same thing in certain sports. For instance, if you watch, I don't know if this reference may be too old for some of you guys, but Muhammad Ali had a very particular style, and that was his style, and he's very identifiable. And for him to switch and imitate, let's say, Joe Frazier's style, which was a totally different type of fighter, he could do it, but he wouldn't do it very well relative to his own style. So you see that in art as well. So back to the original problem. The problem is, in time, your design style, like mine, may become dated, or you may want to just switch off into another style because of whatever circumstance. So what are the solutions? Number one is to hire a web designer to just produce a skin. Again, you can art direct it as I do. I got my hands in everything. You get somebody to inject their style into your work so that it can really freshen up what you provide to, for your clients or whatnot, or for your own sites. Another option, and it's pretty similar, is just you find a particular layout that you like, whether it be in a template or whatnot, and then you borrow from that and you take off from there, and this allowing you to perhaps appeal to a broader range of clients in terms of the style.